What if Severus Snape trusted Harry and revealed everything in Year 6? Let's explore it in this cinematic, lore-accurate alternate timeline video. September presses cold light through the narrow window of Snape's office, making pickled things shine like amber moons. The door shuts on its own breath. Shelves hold rows of bottled colors and captured smells, and the air tastes faintly of clove and iron. Harry stands across the desk, caught between the stink of preserved nettles and the astringent polish of a life mastered by edges. Snape's wand is a thin, black hyphen resting against a ledger. He doesn't raise it. He speaks without preface, his voice pitched low enough that even the paintings might miss it. He recounts Spinner's End and the Unbreakable Vow. He lays out Draco's assigned murder. He tells of a ring split like a tooth and a curse that is eating Dumbledore by inches. He says the word Horcrux and doesn't flinch. He names the diary as precedent, the ring as proof, the rest as a number yet to be discovered. He says there is a mission hidden inside a death that must still occur, or the war ends in strangled silence and ash.
I do not want your forgiveness. I want your precision.
You tell me everything. I follow through. That's the deal.
Trust is the costliest magic. Spend it wisely.
They formalize it with nothing but breath, a clandestine axis running from Harry's stubborn hope to Snape's bleak discipline. Signals are set. 2 brush strokes of a sleeve against stone for permission, 1 for retreat. A finger tap on the desk for follow, 3 for flee. Draco is not an enemy, but a soul to be spared. Slughorn is not a mark, but a gate. The vanishing cabinet in the room of requirement is not just a door, it is a throat. The stakes widen like a spiral staircase. Bellatrix prowls around any leak of loyalty. Slughorn cradles a memory threaded with shame. Borgin and Burke's hums with the dust of pared wood. Dumbledore grows thinner beneath the grandeur of his calm. The astronomy wind will be cruel and clean. The tower will need to be wrapped in a hush, not to hide sin, but to stop the castle from singing to the dark mark. They move first, but a beetle the color of ink dries its wings in a quill cup somewhere and waits to churr. The cabinet coughs like a dying bird learning to breathe. Midnight inks Snape's office in steady shadows. A brass lamp flares to a tight cone. He draws a map of the castle with 3 lines, no names, just pressures. The plan is not heroism, it is arithmetic. Harry listens to the clicks of jars settling, while Snape lists the rules. Move when ordered, lie only by omission to friends, never corner Draco where he can't choose mercy. Harry swallows the taste of old anger.
Your courage will help no one if it is noisy.
Then I'll learn to be quiet.
In the restricted section, the library smells like the skin of old apples and dust. Hermione arrives under pretense of studying ward theory and watches Harry watching Snape not be there. Luna floats along the end of the aisle, fingers brushing the spines in a whispering scale. She hums a note that isn't music and sets a pocket bell on the table. Spells have resonance, walls have appetite. If you draw the right circle, the castle eats the echo.
Sigils are like music. Hush one note. The song can't hurt you.
Magic does not.
It does when the stones are listening.
At dawn, the common room is a fireplace of quiet boys pretending to sleep. Ron snores in a rhythm that almost sounds like a question. Harry leans over him and says nothing and means everything. He is building a lie with the shape of truth around it. He tucks the Half-Blood Prince's book into his bag and thinks of letting the author read it again. The Slug Club smells of sugared fruit and varnished certainty. Slughorn makes the room bounce with his mirth, and his face oil slicks with some grief he refuses to name. Decanters line up like garnets along a silver tray. Snape watches from a corridor's shadow, where the draught licks at cold ankles, and studies the locations of every exit. Harry maps which glass Slughorn guards with his pinky finger like a talisman. A plan for a memory extraction begins to look like kindness.
Memories are cigars. One keeps them for the right occasion.
Then let's light one that warms instead of burns.
The room of requirement draws breath and exhales sawdust. Draco's shoulders are sharp, his hands careful, his hair damp with effort. The vanishing cabinet rattles and then settles. Creature watches from the mouth of a cupboard where someone once stored unwanted chairs. Dobby stands on a stack of rugs like a sentinel, eyes too large for the dark. Snape instructs them without insult and with exactness. One elf goes if the cabinet opens, one goes if the cabinet fails. They nod with the solemnity of those used to orders without context. On the astronomy tower, the wind is a knife that politely warns you before it cuts. Snape paints a ring no wider than a table edge. Luna sets the bell in the center and flicks a single spell, a stifled lumos that barely glows. The bell does not ring. They trade a look that is a handshake between different worlds of belief. Dumbledore's office ticks like a civilized thunderstorm. The portraits pretend to nap. The instruments pretend to be secure. Dumbledore's hand is a black star wrapped in bindings. He denies haste. He permits preparation. He insists on lessons disguised as refusals. Harry tries not to hate love for making patience a virtue.
There will be a cave. There will be a cost. Not yet.
You're running out of yet.
And so I cannot spend it badly.
Katie Bell's curse threads back to Knockturn Alley like a dragged piece of barbed wire. Snape gathers residue and reduces it in a dish until it smells like burned sugar and guilt. Borgin's name forms on the fumes. Under the cloak, Harry watches Borgin's mouth twitch around lies, and Snape loosens one with a rumor of the fate of men who disappoint him. The paired cabinet is confirmed. Its wood is tired and almost whole.
When it is whole, holes appear.
Then we need a patch big enough for a sky.
Scoreboard. Allies. 2. Intel. 1. Artifacts. 0. Wards. Sigils. Prototype. 1. The Marauder's map blinks with Draco's loops like a heartbeat stutter. Luna draws moons in the margins where he pauses and where the castle breathes differently. Harry learns the rhythm of a boy building a door to his mother's safety and someone else's death. In an aisle that smells like malted guilt, Borgin admits to the paired cabinet and to letters inked in a green he will not name. Snape doesn't thank him. The elf relay is adjusted to the timing of Borgin's fear. In an unused classroom, chalk dust makes a low fog. Snape inks sigils that are less commands than requests. Spells hit and lie down, obedient dogs told not to bark. Harry throws a stunner and listens to silence close around it like hands. Harry brings Lily into the room with plain words. Slughorn's eyes grow watery with love and something like fright. A candied pineapple glistens with a courage draft so small it could be a wish. Creature and Dobby practice appearing at 2 different shoulders in one breath. They treat the castle like a loom, sentences threading staircases together in angles no human notices. They smile like craftsmen. Snape returns the prince's book to himself in a circle. He writes in the corners, not new spells, but steps, sleeve brush, corridor turn, whisper level, how to look like betrayal while being a bridge. Outside the room of requirement, fog crystals take Draco's panic and turn it to cracks like lightning trapped in ice. Every day the veins run deeper. Harry feels the urge to warn him and swallows it like a stone. The office glows a green that flatters men who like rare liqueurs. Bottled memories glow like soft moons strung across the ceiling. The pensive surface doesn't reflect, it invites. A fish blinks with the sluggish certainty of a king who knows he will be fed. Slughorn begins with a story and ends with a spent laugh. Harry answers with Lily, before school, before fame, the kitchen light on her hair, the quiet, the way compassion dressed itself as argument. He does not accuse, he does not press, he offers his palms. Snape lays a hush sigil beneath the carpet with a gesture that would look like absent-minded smoothing to anyone else. The room takes a deep breath and holds it.
Lily was singular.
She still is.
A plate of candied pineapple catches the lamplight like a grin. Slughorn takes one, and it dissolves on his tongue, bravery masquerading as dessert. He exhales through his nose and almost nods. He tells the story of a boy who asked about tearing the soul and making anchors of murder. He pretends it was academic, and the pretense breaks like cheap glass. A small sound arranges itself out of nowhere. It is a chirr as soft as a memory waking up. A quill's feather trembles in its cup. Snape's hand freezes. Harry feels the room tilt. The enchanted beetle has a purpose the dark mark can hear.
Can you trust me?
I have trusted less deserving men with more.
Stand still.
Snape kills the beetle without a syllable. The hush sigil drinks the death of a sound. The floating bottles sway as if the room has coughed, and then decides not to. Slughorn realizes that someone just saved him from being witnessed by the wrong eyes. His wand trembles to his temple. Memory threads out like a silver river. He holds it, trapped by his own history and desire not to be made into an example. Harry does not push. Harry offers exchange. He will keep the memory safe. He will not make Slughorn a spectacle. He will use it as a tool rather than a trophy. The memory lands in a crystal bottle with a sound like a far-off bell. The pensive brightens and then quiets down, a heart rate settling after panic.
I told a boy how to live forever, and he died anyway.
Then let the mistake feed the cure.
We finish it.
They part with a secrecy that has nothing to do with shame and everything to do with keeping a good thing alive for longer than a corridor can carry. The letter comes sealed in green wax that smells faintly of snake and smoke. Draco breaks it with hands that have learned dexterity through fear. The script is delicate and cruel. Deliver Potter to the astronomy tower when the mark rises. The mother's heart continues. The boy gets to live with his soul in one piece. It is not a promise. It is a cage shaped like a favor. Snape's mark burns when the reply slithers down to him. A demand, not a request. Kill the headmaster. Prove loyalty beyond doubt. Receive stewardship of the place that made you. He reads it with the face of a man reading a weather report that predicts a hurricane when the harvest is at its sweetest moment. Harry and Snape stand like two statues, arguing with the air between them. One demands the trap be sprung on their terms. The other insists that refusal is suicidal.
We change the stage. We set the tone. We own the silence.
We obey the timing. We deny the music.
Hermione steps into the argument with a legal mind and a friend's heart. She is not wrong enough to be ignored, nor right enough to be loved for her answer.
If we become liars to catch a liar, what do we become when he's gone?
Luna suggests a small change in the symphony. Hush the notes the dark mark loves. Make curses look like light and not like a song. The castle will not tell on you if you don't teach it the words. Dumbledore authorizes nothing and everything with the weight of a gaze. He will go to the tower. He will be conquered. He will make his own end useful. He blesses Snape with a nod, and Harry with a sentence neither can bear, and both can live by.
Be kinder than the war allows.
Draco sits alone and writes half a plea before he burns it with a handshake. He isn't built for murder. He is built for love clogged by terror. They accept the bait with a plan drawn like a compass rose. The sigil field will swallow resonance. The elves will braid the castle. Draco will be offered a way out without degradation. The Dark Lord will be fed the appearance of triumph while its shape is stolen. The elf lattice fails once. The cabinet opens by a finger's width and inhales. A Carrow test squad enters and sets Hagrid's pumpkins on fire, orange lanterns of mockery wobbling in the night. panic runs up staircases like spilled oil. Houses snap at each other's throats, small wars eager to be born. In the bathroom, wet with the nervous sweat of pipework, Sectum Sempra opens Draco like a red mouth. It is canon and it is preventable. Harry stumbles backward, horror riding rage. Snape arrives late enough to prove a cover and early enough to save a life. His magic is ugly and efficient. Flesh knits, blood slows. The mirror shows 3 faces older than an hour ago.
Hurt him again, and you undo everything.
Then keep him alive with me.
Why help me?
Because the Dark Lord doesn't.
Harry decides in the corridor, with the tile cold through his shoes and the smell of copper in his throat, that he will not tell a soul what happened in there. Mercy is silence used properly. Snape presses a folded parchment into Harry's fist when nobody can see. Tower. Hush the music. Harry nods without words. They split to their places with the grace of men who know their cues. The plan becomes a shape the castle can feel. Dumbledore will surrender the tower and teach restraint by making his end an argument. Snape will seal his vow and his cover with a terrible act and a private kindness. Harry will watch without striking and protect the window where Draco can choose to live. Luna will shepherd the smallest away by routes that do not exist on maps. Hermione will script prefects with phrases that sound like detentions and mean evacuations. The elves will tie the invisibles together. The hush ring expands into a field sown with ink and patience. It does not cancel curses. It erases their chorus. The dark mark will be a green moon without a hum. The tower will be a stage no sound tells on. Scoreboard, allies, 2, 4. Intel, 1, 3. Artifacts, 0. Wards, sigils, field. 1. Night sheathes the castle in polished black, and the dark mark unfurls over the tower like a monstrous lantern. The wind comes not as a roar, but as a push, steady and cold. The hush field is inked into stone and sky, stitched along parapet and stair, a patient seam that turns song to light. Dumbledore stands with his ruined hand, wrapped like a sacrament. His eyes are tired and full. He looks at the stars as if they are old students. The wand in his grasp is an elder thing, with a memory of wars older than these. He does not hold it like a weapon. He holds it like history. Draco enters first, pale and damp, wand pointed with both hands, the shape of a child forced into a silhouette of danger. He disarms a man who lets it happen, and in that letting, a wand allegiance moves like a minnow no one sees. The hush field drinks the clatter that should have been, and the tower stays composed. Death Eaters spill out of the cabinet into the school with the energy of men who believe in momentum and spectacle. They throw curses that paint the air with emerald and violet ribbons. The hush field swallows the resonance so the castle doesn't sing them to the mark. Panic hesitates. The enemy's theatre does not play through the walls. It unsettles them in ways more brutal than screams.
Severus.
Headmaster.
Trust, trust, trust.
Harry crouches under the cloak an arm's length from history. He can hear his own breath like surf. He can see Snape's shoulders set into a posture that is not posture, but promise. He tastes iron and decides to hold still. He does not notice he is crying into his scarf until it is cold. Bellatrix arrives late and wants to set the night on fire with joy. She knocks a parapet stone loose with a careless charm and listens for the music she loves, the way a child shakes a toy to hear it rattle. Nothing sings back to her. She smiles too sharp and decides to make the tower sing a different way. She shatters stone in a line that makes the hush field wobble. Alecto and Amicus drag Fiendfire up from the floor like a dragon persuaded to be a dog. Even silent, flame eats. The hush field hums with strain you feel in teeth. Snow begins to move sideways. The mark overhead flickers from green to a strange pale, as if curiosity has overruled hunger.
Sing for me, pretty castle.
Move the children now.
This way, the quiet way.
Luna threads first years through a corridor that was not there yesterday. She speaks in a voice that makes the stones lean to hear. Hermione turns a reprimand into a password and empties a landing. Neville stands at a bend with knuckles white, a shield charm ready, and a wide, unscared gaze. The small ones move like a school of fish, recognizing the shadow of a shark and diving in instinctive harmony. The Hushfield trembles as Fiendfire licks at it without sound, a moving picture of appetite. Dumbledore sways, and the black star of his hand flares. He turns his face to Severus and empties it of everything but trust. Harry presses a forehead to stone and whispers nothing. The momentum shifts. The enemy's first rush dissolves into disorientation. The reversal arrives on cracking parapet and silent flame. The payoff is a choice that nobody wants, and everyone came here to witness. Snape steps in. He stands between Draco and the version of Draco who wakes up every night with a stranger's blood on his wrists. He stands between the vow and cowardice. He stands between the Dark Lord and a strategic problem. He lifts his wand, and the Hushfield leans in.
Look at me.
The green light opens and closes like a terrible flower. The scream that the castle might have remembered for a century doesn't happen. The Hushfield swallows it with gentle, careful hands. Dumbledore falls like a sheet of snow, leaving a roof and vanishing into white. For a heartbeat after, the dark mark goes silver, as if tasting a metal it did not expect. Then it drifts on, content with shape without song. Harry's throat makes a sound that he alone hears. His wand is up. His grief is perfect. His training is stronger.
Fight me, coward.
Occlude your grief or drown in it.
We should have sung the whole school down.
He saved me.
We have orders.
They retreat across the grounds. Harry chases, flinging curses that look like grief, translated into light. Snape answers each with a correction. His parries are lessons. His deflections are pedagogy.
Pronunciation, wrist, intention, again.
I will kill you.
You will win, which is worse for me and better for you.
Bellatrix spins joy into vandalism, breaking windows to manufacture a sound the Hushfield can't catch this far from its lines. Snape snarls at her like a tired father at a brilliant, deranged child. The Carrows scoff at students and miss the way corridors empty, as if shyness suddenly spread. Snape shepherds his monsters out the front gate, like a man walking dogs too strong for the leash. He does not look back. Harry falls to his knees when the grounds open up in front of him, and the map of his world moves its borders quietly. The tower holds. The silence lingers like fog. Morning eats the dark and leaves Pearl. McGonagall's voice becomes a pillar. She does not break in front of anyone. She orders in a tone that makes adults remember they are not. Harry offers Draco no ruin. He tells McGonagall that Draco ran. Not how, not why, not with what wounds under his shirt. He chooses war's mercy. McGonagall hears what he did not say and thanks him by not saying what she understands. In a corridor still smelling of extinguished flame, Alecto throws a killing curse at a silhouette. Snape's non-lethal breaker hits it off course and into the wall where it dies as light. He spares McGonagall by intercepting the insult of death. She feels it like a breeze and files it inside her bones. Flitwick secures Ravenclaw Tower wards with a precision that makes numbers hum. Slughorn returns to class with his shoulders slightly stooped and his pride arranged more politely. The DA unfurls itself again under Luna's drifting leadership and Neville's clean spine and Ginny's hands that have learned sword work without swords. Evacuation drills become games. Games become reflex. The Order receives the bottled memory via a courier who does not know what he carries. The bottle sits on a table next to a candle guttering in a draught and looks like a small, earned victory. Horcruxes equal 7, minus 1 diary, minus 1 ring that punished a theft, equals a quest that has a number, and thus can be finished. Harry closes the prince's book and doesn't open it again. He understands that it was a bridge walked across, not a home. He thinks of the Elder Wand and does not yet know that it has moved its allegiance to a boy standing under a tree thinking about his mother. Some victories refuse to announce themselves until summoned by a grave.
We grieve and we guard.
We finish what he began.
When the castle hums again, it will be safe.
The map of Hogwarts redraws itself, not with lines on parchment, but with habits. Prefects carry coded phrases like keys. Teachers move like a phalanx cut into single bodies. House rivalries burn down to embers and warm hands instead of ignite hallways. The hush field leaves a memory in stone that anyone with the right touch can feel. On the grounds, where frost has settled into lace, a phoenix might have flown once. Or maybe that was only the way light moved. That's our theory. Snape's trust turns silence into a shield, spares Draco's soul, and sets the board for a Horcrux war fought under a quiet sky. If this lore-faithful path gripped you, like, share, and subscribe. Want Part 2, how the hunt changes when the castle itself keeps your secrets? Tell us below.